Bro, that Mega Gengar is insane. $1,492.76? Totally worth it. My child, if I was you, I would tread lightly, as we do not know what the morrow may bring. Your confidence could betray you. Once again, tread lightly. The Pokemon TCG is currently in a state of madness, and some seem to think that we could be very close to the top of the market, but who really knows? In any case, people are paying absurd prices for packs and singles, and there seems to be no end in sight, or is there? Is this the peak? Are we in the euphoria stage of the Pokemon market? Are the confidence levels just too high? Nobody really knows at the moment, and the short-term market is very hard to predict, so that's why you need to tread carefully. Now, this all depends on your goals, of course. If you're looking to invest, for example, you should have a long-term outlook just to be safe. But if you're looking for short-term gains, that's always a very risky game to play. I mean, prices are already at all-time highs for a lot of things, and how high it's gonna go is anyone's guess. So we all need to be very careful at what price points we're getting into certain sealed products or single cards, because the market can switch very quickly and any fluctuations are very hard to predict, especially for single cards. For example, PSA is backed up with orders at the moment and the waiting times are long. They're very long. So if you buy a really expensive single card, you get it ready for grading, you send it off to PSA, you wait for the whole grading process, and by the time you get it back, a lot of time can pass. Let's just say you buy the most recent Pikachu from Ascended Heroes, or the Mega Charizard X, or the Mega Gengar, once again from Ascended Heroes. Let's just take a look at those prices actually. Let's hop on over to Collector, take a look at what those prices are doing just to get an idea. So let's start out with Mega Gengar EX. So as you can see, it's gone through a bit of a dip. I mean, when it first came out, it was at $1,500 for a raw card. This is a raw card, okay? Came back at its low point, it was at $826. And now it's back up to, yeah, $1,300. And apparently the latest sale, we're back at $1,492, so almost $1,500 for the single card. For graded, we're talking a $4,000 plus PSA 10. And if we take a look at the Pikachu, or Trikachu as some people are calling it, ungraded, it was going for $694, kind of at the beginning. And now it hit a peak at $1,168, seems to have dipped back down. We'll see how far down this goes here. So maybe this will kind of crash down. Who knows? Might go back up, might go flat. Who knows? This is what I'm saying. Very, very unpredictable at the moment. And for the graded price history, so PSA 10, 477 to begin with, which was like the same price. That's not possible. It was cheaper than the raw card, so that seems a bit unusual. So I'm not too sure how accurate that information is. But for PSA 10 now, we're talking similar to the Gengar, $4,500, so over $4,000 for PSA 10. Now let's take a look at the Mega Charizard X. So this one started out as a raw card, $1,574, extremely high. So it has come down. Obviously this card is much easier to pull than the Pikachu or the Gengar. I mean, there are so many SIRs in Ascended Heroes which make them very hard to hit. It's hard to hit a specific SIR. Whereas the Mega Charizard X is way, way, way easier to pull, as there are only 5 or 6 SIRs in Phantasmal Flames. So that's something that you have to take into account. This card is still holding up at $861 raw. For the PSA 10, it's been very stable actually. So we're talking, yeah, just it was at the most, it was $3,983, so just shy of $4,000. It's kind of stayed roughly, yeah, kind of high thousands. Now it's back almost at 3,000, you know, it's not far off 3,000 for PSA 10. So those are just some examples of some of the big chase cards from recent sets and the prices on those. And now we're going to talk about what could happen with those cards once you get them back from PSA. So you send it away to get graded, it finally comes back like 10 months later, and it comes back PSA 9. Well, if that happens, you're pretty much screwed because you waited a very, very long time, you paid the grading fees, and chances are it's probably the same value as a raw copy or less. And let's just say that you're really, really good at taking a look at cards, the condition, the centering, and so on. You're very, very good at that, and you get back a PSA 10. So that's awesome. You've got a PSA 10 copy of one of the most popular chase cards in the recent era. But the thing is, after 10 months have gone by, the market could have drastically changed and you could lose a lot of money. So of course, I am saying this as just a warning to say tread carefully. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if prices are going to go down, if they're going to stay stable, if they're going to continue to go up. Honestly, imagining the prices continue to climb, to go up, is kind of a scary thought because we're already at unprecedented levels where the prices are just absolutely absurd, and I couldn't really imagine it going even further. But I mean, this market has been quite surprising, to be honest. I never expected cards to be this expensive right out the gate as soon as a set releases, so you know, who knows? So if you're grading cards, you're buying singles, it's always risky because you don't know how the market is going to be changing over the short term. And another thing you need to consider if you're grading your cards, if you're sending it to PSA or other grading companies, is that you're not the only one. There are a ton of other people that are sending their cards off to get graded, especially big chase cards like this. It's become much more popular in recent times to get your cards graded. It's almost like if you pull one of these cards, it's not even like something you consider or think about, you just grade it. It's just like an automatic thing that a lot of people do now. It's so popular, it's so mainstream. Whereas before, it was kind of like a bit more niche. I'm not saying it was really niche, but you know, less people were grading their cards compared to today. So if you combine several factors here, so we have time going by, so the time it takes to get your card graded, not knowing how the market is going to be by the time you get your card back, not knowing if you're going to get a PSA 10, a PSA 9, or maybe less, because I'm not bashing on PSA here, but they are somewhat inconsistent with their grading at times. And you also factor in the fact that you're not the only one sending your cards to get graded. So let's just say you send your card, 10 months go by, you get it back. By that time, the market has cooled down. Everybody else is receiving their cards as well. People want to sell. You've got a bunch of cards in the market that people are trying to sell, but less people care because the market has cooled down by that time. You know, you see where I'm going here. You could end up with a situation where there are a lot of these cards available in the market and a lot of people trying to sell them, not as many people interested in buying them. And there you have sellers kind of undercutting one another and prices will go down. And now this is just a scenario. I'm not saying this is going to happen once again, but it's something that you should consider if you're buying these cards at these really, really high prices. Now, if you're a collector and you're buying these cards because you want them and you're happy to pay those prices and you want to keep them in your collection and you don't care if the price goes up, down, or whatever, then that's fine. You make your own choice. You decide. At the end of the day, anything from this video is just to get you thinking about what could happen. I'm not telling you it's all what you should do. So your decision is yours. What you decide to do, you know, that's entirely up to you. So now that we've talked about single cards and the volatility and, you know, not really being able to predict what the market's going to do from one day to another, let's talk about sealed product. With sealed, if you hold for long enough, you're generally going to be very, very safe. The past 30 years of the Pokemon TCG have only shown that sealed product only goes up over time. Obviously, there are fluctuations in the short term, but if you take a look at a long-term graph, or you take a look at the prices of products when they came out, and you know, years later, the prices are pretty much always higher. But if you are buying sealed as an investment, you really need to commit to it, and you really need to be okay with seeing the prices fluctuate, maybe go down compared to what you paid for it, and not really pay attention to the short-term data, because what you're really interested in is the long-term growth. I mean, you can have products going up, then down, then kind of fluctuating, then going flat, then back down again, then back up, and then if you take a look, if you de-zoom over a few years, you'll see that, you know, your sealed product is actually going up. But you can't pay attention to what's happening in the really short term because that can be really discouraging. So you need to have a long-term mindset and you really need to be able to commit to it for sealed product. And why I'm saying this is because sealed product is extremely expensive as well. And if you're paying really high prices, I'm not saying you shouldn't. It's a very difficult thing to tell what you should be doing in this market. I mean, I'd be saying normally, you know, don't buy ETBs of Ascended Heroes over $100. You know, I'd say that's no way, no, don't do that. But the thing is, we don't know how long this is going to go on for. Once again, hopefully Pokemon are going to get control of the situation with their new printing facility. Hopefully that will help. Hopefully by that time, you know, people will have kind of like cooled down a little bit, because once again, I'm wondering if we're not hitting like the euphoria stage of the market where people are just going absolutely crazy, and that after this, people are going to kind of realize like, oh, wait, I just spent way too much money on this stuff. I need to calm down. So who knows what's going to happen once again. But yeah, generally speaking, I'd say don't buy these things expensive. But if you have that long-term outlook, if you are 100% sure that you are able to commit to holding these products for several years. Now, I don't know how many years exactly, because things are going all over the place. Who knows what the future of the Pokemon market holds, how fast things are going to grow for sealed product, you know, rip and shippers and so on, and the fact that people are opening this product in mass will have some impact. So we don't really know yet how much product is going to be left. That we'll have to see as time goes on to kind of gauge how things are going to like react, how sealed product is going to be opened, how much is going to be left. These are things that we kind of have to give a bit of time to see what the result is actually going to be. It's hard to actually get specific numbers on it. All we know is that there are a ton of products being opened by, once again, rip and shippers, YouTubers, people that are just opening it for fun. So yeah, these are things that you need to consider when you're buying your sealed product. But yeah, once again, if you have that long-term outlook, I think you're safe. Even if you pay, you know, 150, 160, 170 for an ETB, if it's a really strong set like Prismatic Evolutions or Ascended Heroes, yeah, you're safe. Just hold it long enough and you'll be all right. So just to sum up, if you're buying singles, just be aware of the volatility of the fact that the market can change from one day to another. Things can change very drastically, very quickly. If you're grading your cards and you have to wait a long time before getting them back, by the time you get them back, you may not get the grade you expected, and the market may have changed in the meantime. And so be careful if you're spending really high dollar amounts for these single cards, because you could get burned if your intention is to flip them and make money from it. If you're a collector, that's a different thing. That's entirely up to you to decide what you want to do and how much you're willing to spend. And for sealed product, like I just said, you know, you're safe if you hold it long enough. Just try to get the best deals possible. Try to make educated decisions. Don't be spending stupid amounts of money on really weak sets. That's my personal advice. Now, you do what you want to do, but that's my personal advice, is just at the current stage of the Pokemon market, at the current prices, there are certain products to me that are just not worth it, because the singles aren't worth it. There aren't any significant chase cards or anything like that. But there are sets, once again, Prismatic Evolutions, Ascended Heroes, Destined Rivals, 151. You know, there are sets, even Phantasmal Flames. Even if there's just that one Charizard, the artwork is strong enough that it will kind of draw people in, and there will be demand for that. So all of those sets, you know, you can't go far wrong if you hold it long enough. So just, once again, educate yourself on which Pokemon are popular, which are the most popular chase cards, and kind of learn to see which sets have potential because of that. And those are the sets that you really should be going for at the current prices. And also, don't be afraid to go look back to Sword and Shield era as well. I personally don't. I just kind of keep moving forward, but there can be opportunities there as well. So yeah, guys, just take a look at the prices. There are some things that make more sense because they're out of print since a few years from Sword and Shield that have some good cards in them, as opposed to buying the most recent stuff that's going to be in print for a few years to come. So yeah, those are things that you should consider when you're buying cards at the moment. Just be aware that we may be hitting the top, the peak. We may not be, I don't know, but the prices at the moment just seem far too absurd. The growth is so rapid at the moment that I'm kind of getting a bit, you know, I'm kind of asking myself if this can continue on. Just keep going up, keep going on for so long. Who knows, man? Only time will tell. Anyway, guys, I hope this video helped. I hope there are some tips in here that you guys can apply to your buying, collecting, investing, or whatever. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did stick to it to the end, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the channel, join the Kaching gang, and if you do want to be notified of future videos, hit that notification bell and you will be notified of all the videos that I put out in the future. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. Until next time, take care, peace out, bye!